What if I told you that Prince Harry may not be Meghan Markle's first or even second husband, and that MI6, yes, British intelligence, just uncovered the one document that could shatter everything he thought he knew about the woman he married? This isn't just royal gossip. It's a betrayal wrapped in silence, hidden marriages, and a rising storm that could pull the entire monarchy into the mud. Because when MI6 investigates someone, they don't play games. They dig. And this time, what they found left even seasoned agents shaken. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. They weren't expecting a name like Joe Guiliano to show up in their global scans of legal registries. They definitely weren't expecting a marriage certificate with Meghan Markle's name on it. But there it was, sealed, time-stamped, and hidden deep in a U.S. state archive. Forgotten by most. Buried by design. And it didn't stop there. Another name. A second foreign marriage. Rumors of a third. 3 husbands. 1 duchess. And 1 furious prince. But before we jump ahead, let's ask the question that's now echoing through palace walls. Did Prince Harry marry someone who was never legally free to marry him in the first place? Because if that's true, if the paperwork isn't just a mistake or a look-alike coincidence, then the implications are massive. We're not just talking about public embarrassment. We're talking about potential bigamy, invalid royal titles, and legal chaos over inheritance, security privileges, and even the children's legitimacy in the eyes of the crown. And here's where it gets real. Meghan, when confronted by royal aides, allegedly said, "Everything before Harry was a different life. A different me." But MI6 doesn't care about metaphors. They care about truth. They care about security. And when the world started asking how someone with Meghan's complex past was vetted for royal life, they started asking questions. Real ones. Hard ones. That's when they found it. A certified marriage certificate. Meghan Markle. Joe Guiliano. Dated. Signed. Filed. Real. And the moment Prince Harry laid eyes on that file, witnesses say he turned white. He clutched it, read it once, and said just one word. Why? But here's what will blow your mind. Joe Guiliano? He's still alive. Still working. And according to sources close to him, he's not shocked that this came out. In fact, he's allegedly been waiting for it to resurface. And he might not be the only one. You see, there's another name buried in the shadows. Another man. Another country. A mystery marriage that could be even more explosive than Joe Guiliano's. So why is this all coming out now? Well, let's just say, not everyone inside MI6 is loyal to the palace. Some believe the public deserves the truth. Especially after years of carefully crafted public images, Netflix deals, and heartfelt documentaries. And now, the dominoes are starting to fall. One source close to MI6 allegedly said, "This isn't just about Meghan. This is about how the monarchy allowed this to happen under their watch. This is about national embarrassment." So where does that leave Prince Harry? Alone, confused, and reportedly lashing out behind closed doors. Some say he's in denial. Others say he's preparing legal steps. But what's clear is this. The man who once walked away from the palace for love may now be questioning everything that love was built on. What could possibly shake the walls of Buckingham Palace harder than Megxit? Try this. An official marriage certificate buried in a secure U.S. archive, unearthed by MI6 agents during what was supposed to be a routine sweep. A certificate with one name typed in bold across the top, Meghan Markle, and next to it, the name Joe Guiliano. Why was British intelligence even digging through American marriage records? It started as a quiet background check. Some say it was tied to internal whispers that Meghan's immigration history wasn't fully disclosed during her transition into royal life. Others claim it was a covert probe triggered by tensions between Harry and the rest of the firm, a last-ditch effort to shield the monarchy from further embarrassment. Whatever the reason, what they found wasn't a rumor. It wasn't a tabloid hit job. It was government-issued, sealed, certified, legal. Meghan Markle was married to another man before Prince Harry, and there was no record of a divorce date that aligned with her timeline. Think about that. For all the royal protocols, background vetting, and legal procedures, nobody caught this. Until now. MI6 didn't just stop there. They requested supplemental documentation, birth records, immigration filings, travel history, and the picture that emerged was messy. Because this wasn't some teen Vegas fling or secret elopement in the hills. This was a structured, fully registered marriage, believed to have lasted longer than a year, potentially overlapping her rise to fame. Now here's where it turns surreal. When Prince Harry was presented with the MI6 file, sources say he was calm. At first, he studied the front page, flipped through the photocopies. He asked if it could be fake, and when he got the answer, he allegedly stood up, tore out the final page, and said, "How many more lies am I married to?" But it wasn't just Harry reeling from the news. Palace aides were blindsided. The Queen's former legal advisors were contacted for advice, retroactively, of course. Damage control meetings were quietly scheduled. Even King Charles reportedly raised one burning question. If this marriage is valid, was her wedding to Harry legal at all? And here's the part no one expected. The certificate had been flagged before. Years ago, but somehow, it was wiped from background checks. Someone cleaned it up. Someone made sure it disappeared. Until now. But what came next made the Joe Guiliano discovery look tame. Because someone else's name appeared on an entirely different document, from an entirely different country. And this time, Meghan had no way to explain it. Who is Joe Guiliano? That's the question echoing from palace walls to newsroom desks across the globe. Because until now, his name had only floated in rumor, whispered in fringe blogs, hinted at in obscure court filings, and dismissed as fiction by Meghan's defenders. But now, MI6 has the paperwork. The marriage certificate is real. And suddenly, the man who was just a shadow in Meghan's past is standing center stage. So who is he? Joe Guiliano is no royal, no aristocrat, no Hollywood mogul. He's a civilian, a Chicago-born entrepreneur who reportedly met Meghan long before her rise to fame. Some say they connected during her university years. Others believe they crossed paths while she was working odd gigs, long before Suits launched her into the limelight. According to sources, their relationship was intense, fast, passionate, and very real. So real, in fact, that they allegedly married in a quiet courthouse ceremony, witnessed only by two of Joe's close friends. No gowns, no cameras, just vows, paper, and a promise. But here's where things get murky and messy. The marriage didn't end with a bang. It ended with nothing. No high-profile divorce. No dramatic fallout. Just silence. And now, the missing puzzle piece. No traceable divorce filing in official federal records that coincides with Meghan's royal timeline. Let that sink in. Could Meghan have walked down the aisle with Harry while still legally tied to Joe Guiliano? If so, the marriage to Harry would be invalid. Royal protocol shattered. The monarchy, embarrassed. And Prince Harry? Utterly blindsided. But why hide Joe at all? Why erase that chapter? People close to Meghan paint a clear picture. Joe didn't fit the image. He wasn't glamorous. He wasn't part of her public rebrand. And he knew too much. About her past. About her ambitions. About how much she was willing to trade to rise. One former friend quoted Joe as saying, "She was always aiming higher. I was the practice run." Cruel? Maybe. Honest? Possibly. Because here's the twist no one saw coming. Joe Guiliano has allegedly been waiting for this moment. He never sold his story, never ran to tabloids. He waited. And now, with MI6 validating the marriage, he's reportedly in talks with multiple networks and legal teams. Not to cash in, but to set the record straight. So why now? Why step forward? Because Joe may not be the only one Meghan married. And the next man? He's not from Chicago. He's from a country where marriages aren't so easily erased. And that's where the story truly spirals. You thought one hidden husband was a scandal? What if there was another, and this one wasn't just hidden? He was scrubbed. Because buried deep in foreign records, in a registry not accessible to standard background checks, British intelligence found something else. A second foreign marriage certificate. This time, not in America, not in England, but in Argentina. Now, here's the jaw-dropper. The name of the groom was redacted in the original file obtained by MI6. Yes, redacted. Why would a foreign government censor a name from a marriage certificate? Who has that kind of power? Sources say the redaction wasn't an accident. It was intentional, ordered under a diplomatic privacy code reserved for high-profile or politically sensitive figures. Which begs the question, who did Meghan Markle marry in Argentina? And why didn't she want anyone to know? Let's rewind. In 2005, Meghan allegedly took a trip to South America. It was pitched as a humanitarian or educational tour, part of a language immersion program, maybe a gap year style experience before she fully launched into acting. But insiders now believe something else happened on that trip, something legally binding. The marriage certificate lists Meghan Markle by full legal name, Rachel Meghan Markle, and a date of ceremony in Buenos Aires. But the groom's name? Blocked. Government sealed. Now here's where the story tightens like a noose. Intelligence analysts discovered that 2 months after that trip, Meghan's travel records showed an unusual private flight from Argentina back to Toronto. Not commercial, not traceable through typical channels. And that same flight? It was chartered under a shell company linked to foreign intelligence. Let me say that again. A flight tied to foreign intelligence agencies, with Meghan Markle on board. Could this marriage have been part of a cover? A political favor? An arranged deal that was never meant to see the light of day? Even worse, could Meghan herself have been a pawn in a much larger operation? We're talking whispers of diplomatic immunity, quiet annulments processed through back channels, and records sealed in vaults far outside British or American jurisdiction. The kind of secrecy that MI6 doesn't take lightly. According to one former intel officer, the name on the redacted groom's file was shocking, but he refused to say more. All he could offer was this chilling line. If the public saw that name, it wouldn't just damage the monarchy. It would shake alliances. And what about Harry? The moment he was told about the second marriage, he reportedly locked himself in his private study for 5 hours. No aides, no family, just silence. Then he came out, shattered. And when asked what he was going to do, he said something no one expected. I don't think I ever really knew her. But what happened next? The confrontation between Harry and Meghan would push everything over the edge. And it happened behind closed doors, in Montecito, late one night, just before the security cameras were mysteriously turned off. They say love is blind. But when love meets deception, when secrets become headlines, it doesn't just break hearts. It shatters everything. After the MI6 findings, after the marriage certificates, and after that second foreign groom was discovered, Prince Harry had a choice to make. Stay or leave. Behind the high walls of their Montecito estate, tension reached its peak. Staff were sent home early. Meghan was seen pacing the balcony alone. And Harry? He was quiet. Too quiet. But then it happened. According to sources, Harry confronted Meghan in the early hours. No aides, no advisors, just the two of them. And the question he asked wasn't why she hid it. It was how long she thought she could keep it buried. That's when Meghan reportedly said the words that left him speechless. You knew who I was before the vows. Let that sink in. No denial. No explanation. Just a cryptic, cold truth. And what did Harry do next? He walked out. Not out of the house. Out of the marriage, at least emotionally. He reportedly instructed his security detail to separate his movements from Meghan's, stopped wearing his wedding ring in private, and began discussions with royal legal advisors back in the UK. That's right. Harry, the prince who gave up his titles for love, was now preparing for legal disentanglement, a potential annulment, or at the very least, a strategic retreat from a partnership he now viewed as fraudulent. But it doesn't stop there. The king has been informed. The royal legal team is reportedly in emergency review of Meghan's original entry into the royal family, checking every document, every statement, every approval she signed. If even one legal misstep is confirmed, it could trigger a complete erasure of Meghan's titles, privileges, and place in royal succession documents. And the children? That's the question no one dares speak aloud, but everyone's thinking it. If Meghan's marriage to Harry was invalid under British law, what happens to Archie and Lilibet's royal status? The implications are staggering, not just for Harry, not just for the crown, but for the world watching this once golden couple now crumbling under the weight of secrets. So now, we circle back to the question we started with. What if everything Prince Harry believed about Meghan Markle was a lie? If you were in Harry's shoes, what would you do? Do you believe Meghan truly loved him? Or was this all part of something bigger? A climb, a performance, a masterclass in deception? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This story isn't over, not by a long shot. But what comes next? Let's just say, when the third husband steps out of the shadows, the entire narrative could collapse.